Begin transmission.
You are listening to Corellian Run Radio, your route through hyperspace to the latest news on Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Hi, and welcome to Corellian Run Radio. This is episode 146, and recording live Sunday, June the 7th, 2015. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my co-host, Heather. Howdy, Heather.
Hey, Jason.
Oh, Heather, how are you doing? How'd your past week go? Actually, it's been a little longer since I got to see you.
Yeah, well, it's been pretty busy. I've had some new guildies in my guild, and one of them was like, "Wow, your voice sounds really familiar." When we were in Mumble, and everyone was just like, "Ha! Do you listen to any social podcasts?" And he's like, "Well, I listen to Corellian Run Radio," and we're all just like, "Yeah, that's me." So I thought that was kind of cute and funny and awesome because we're trying to recruit right now. So that was cool that we had a new person that recognized my voice and didn't match me up with my guild. Also, I recorded Massively Opinionated for Massively Overpowered with Larry Everett and Redna and Bulk, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So that was exciting, and we'll have a link for everyone in the show notes for that. I also, Corellian Run Radio, got invited to an RP party, a party put on by Radio Free Guild on Ebonhawk. And so I went, and I was there for like almost 2 hours. It was shocking. I don't do anything RP related. So I'm sitting there like emote dancing and emote drinking and
Oh my
and
goodness.
and someone even walked by with one of those cat pets, and I RP walked over there and hugged the cat. I hugged the cat.
Aw.
It was I don't know. I never RP, and this was just so, like, I'm really glad that they invited me, and they do this every day, but their big one is on Saturday. So hopefully we can get them on the show and talk to them a little bit about that. So it was really funny because I ran over there. I literally sprinted over there because I had sprint on, and I had Kimval with me because, of course, I was leveling an assassin on
And
on Ebonhawk.
so happens
Yeah,
I
and nobody
have a
had their
pic of that instance,
yeah.
like some of it, the dancing.
And nobody had their companion out, and so it was like, oh, great. And so I'm just like doing all these like RP faux pas, and it was fun. So lots of stuff for me this past couple weeks.
That looked like it was a good time. I got to see from your tweets and stuff. I would have loved to get to check out that. I haven't done much RP in KOTOR, actually. I've done a little bit, mostly back in the day of Star Wars Galaxy RP.
Yeah, well, you were busy last night during the party. You were doing the
Yes.
GTC.
Yes, I was on GGC. I was very honored to be asked to be on that. That was very cool to be part of that big show. Had all kinds of people on it.
And that stands for Galactic Gamers Coalition.
Yep. And they do that. They're going to do that once a month. And one of the podcasts are going to have, I'm saying that, I'm going to kind of charge of that.
Yeah, so really cool that you got to represent Corellian Run.
Yes, it was a good time. I mean, some of the topics I couldn't necessarily give much of my opinion on, but I had a great time being there. And it was kind of like I was more in awe of listening to the people that I normally listen to a podcast. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool, I'm right here. Oh, yeah, I should say something maybe. No. But besides all that, this past week also, my older niece and nephews, they were getting ready to go away for this summer, so I had a little bit of time with the older nephews to get to play a little bit before they had to go. So I got to spend some time doing some more leveling and stuff with them, so running some older flashpoints, so I had a good time doing that. What else? Oh, so I have my Sork, or not my Sork, Republic side, my Sage, now 56. I did the whole Keb, go to McKeb, and that. I have to thank our guest coming up, Larry Everett, for saving my missions on McKeb until I've already hit 55, and then collect them and go, and I managed to get a full extra level and a half out of that. So We're going to be talking to Larry in just a little bit. And speaking of that, let's go ahead and bring him in. Larry, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. So
And real
I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that I saved you son. I was actually able to go from 55 to like 57 doing that. It was pretty cool. You saved 3 missions. I actually finished out McKeb, is what I was able to do, and get 2 more levels out of it. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely. I got to. I did the same thing. Although it was like, okay, you could only keep the whole thing of you could only have 3 reward missions left. So
Yeah.
I had to, like, yeah, kind of like you only have 2 before you can accept one. So I made checked on that. But it was definitely cool.
Cool. Glad I was helpful.
Yes, very helpful. So what has been going on with you, sir?
Oh wow, quite a few things. It was really funny that Heather said that her guild's recruiting. So is my guild actually. We're looking for some new people as well. I mean, the summer kind of is usually a wind down for our guild in general. I mean, we have most of our members are, 30-ish, and so therefore they have kids coming out of school, they have family vacations, those kinds of things going on, and so our numbers kind of dwindle just a little bit as far as actual attendance is concerned, and so we try to do a recruitment boost during the summer. So that's kind of what we're doing right now with my guild. Other than that, I mean, I've been super busy with the stuff that's going on with Massively Overpowered, with Hyperspace Beacon, and I've also been streaming quite a bit as well. Although last week I was really sick, and so I couldn't do any streams. I'm sorry for everybody that watches me on streams. I couldn't do that.
So,
But yeah.
what's your latest? Are you leveling any other characters or anything like that, or still working on your high end stuff?
Actually, that's really funny you say that. What I've been streaming recently has been Bounty Hunter, and what I've done is I've gone no advanced class Bounty Hunter, so it is a Bounty Hunter, and the
Nice.
character is level 58 right now, so very near 60, and it's just I'm going to finish. I've been saving it up. I actually could have finished it quite a while ago, but because I was sick last week, I wanted to stream whenever I actually got to level 60, and because I mean I have a power tech, I have a mercenary already, and I just wanted to level another character with 12x XP, and so I'm like, why don't I just do it without an advanced class and see what happens there and see what that's all about.
Adding another challenge. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's right.
Yeah, so you don't even get any tanking abilities, no heal abilities, no
Nothing.
anything.
No, I've got one cooldown, and the assortment of DPS abilities that I have just make 0 sense together. It's so fun. I don't have I don't even have an interrupt.
You don't have an interrupt?
No.
Really?
Yeah, it's really crazy. I don't have an interrupt. I can't, so I do. The best thing I have as far as a bounty hunter is concerned, I mean, everyone is different. Like, so a warrior would be different than a bounty hunter. So a warrior, I think, actually gets an interrupt, whereas a straight bounty hunter doesn't. And so I have to, if I'm going to interrupt something, I have to do it on cooldown. So I have to spam I forget the ability off the top of my head, but the one that looks like a lightning bolt. It's a yellow lightning bolt, and I have to,
or something like that.
Yeah, something like that line. I have to spam that and do it while it's on cooldown, and hopefully it hits.
Wow. So what kind of companion you're running with? Healer?
Yeah, I ran with Mako.
Nice.
The whole time. Yeah. I was able. So yeah, I mean, I had everything all set up ahead of time. So as I was going through this, I'm not like making things up. So I've got all of Mako's, like all of her outfits, I guess, or whatever, armor ready to go, and Electro Dart. Chat room's telling me it was Electro Dart, and that's what it is. But at any rate, I have Mako's stuff all ready to go. I had my stuff all ready to go, and And so yeah, I had everything all set up, and yeah, I knew I got Mako right up front, so that it just made things quite a bit easier. I did otherwise I'd probably use Treek.
Yeah, that's what we were talking a little bit about. Like some of the other people that I've heard on some of the other podcasts is like, yeah, if I'm gonna do it for the first time and haven't seen some of the companion stories, I'll use one of the other companions. But if I've seen the story like several times, like it's my third or fourth Merc or third or fourth Sniper, or
Yeah,
whatever, oh yeah, Treek all the way, going quick,
yeah,
right through that.
absolutely. I mean, Treek is the best companion to use if you're just looking to level up quickly. If like you said, yeah, if you've already seen the story and whatnot, use Treek. Otherwise, if you haven't seen the story, don't use Treek because Treek really messes up the story in quite
Yeah,
a number of ways.
yeah. Well, you don't get all those companion points unless you just go to the gift.
What? Yeah, and that aside, I mean, there's all sorts of things that companions say during the course of the storyline that Treek just doesn't say. It's almost like you don't have a companion at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, like during the conversations with some, I forget off the top of my head. I think it was like with Mandalore, if I recall correctly. I ran my power tech through with Treek, and there was like a whole little conversation with Mandalore that you have that Mako actually chimes in on, where Treek didn't say anything.
yeah. That's. I think there's a couple like that with the Sniper with Cleo. She'll chime in
Yeah,
on some different things like that. So I agree.
exactly.
Any other little tips before we move on about your leveling stuff? Because
Oh,
the Makeb one was awesome.
yeah. Well, the other, I mean, obviously with McCab, you want to you. So the way that I liked to do it, I think is probably if you're looking for speed of being able to get through it faster, or in is at level 47 is when you go to McCab. You skip the end of the story. Don't play through the end of the story. The class story. Don't get to level. You'll get if you go through all of McCab, including that little trick that I at the end, you'll get to like level 57 ish, and then go on to Rishi, and that will. I would say even skip like Oricon. Just go right to Rishi because that'll get you. You'll get to level 60 before you finish Rishi if you do it that way.
Nice.
And it's yeah, if you're looking for speed,
Yeah.
I mean the main thing for me at this point isn't necessarily doing it fast, although sometimes it is. But
Yeah.
for the most part, it's being able to now try out different ways of playing that character. Like what happens if um, because most of my bounty, just because I'm on a bounty hunter right now, and so it's fresh in my mind. I mean, I I usually I tried to play my first bounty hunter like kind of neutral, kind of like, oh, this person's for the money and that's why they're doing it. And so my first bounty hunter was very neutral. And then my second one, I went dark side. I went like as dark as you possibly could. And then this one I went light side. So it was really, and there's actually it's a lot more nuanced than I really thought it was initially. I'm not a real big fan of the bounty hunter story in general, but I think that that it was a little bit more nuanced than I had expected. So yeah, I would say even if you're not looking for speed, do it to see the story in a different way.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. The one other thing that I found was once you hit 55, if you have other characters at end game and have run through Yavin, you can pass that legacy gear for your companions if you want to
Yeah,
see the story from another points of view from companion wise as you go back and finish the class story. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the other thing is, yeah, I would, I think I made this recommendation on a past hyperspace beacon is don't run the 12x XP on your first character.
no.
it, because you miss you kind of it kind of because there's a lot of just driving. Frankly, you're on your speeder just going, no, like especially like Alderaan and Belsavis. I mean, you're just all sorts of just driving. That's all you're doing, and it makes it unfun. And So your first character, you absolutely want to run through everything. Get that. Go to that. What's the name of that guy? And like get that buff so you don't. So you don't get 12x XP.
Yeah,
They did that update though, where you don't have to drive. You can just use the quick travel
Speeders.
points, and and they open up all the speeders and stuff.
It's you still got to drive a lot. You still got to drive, especially like Alderaan. You have to, oh my
Alderaa's a lot.
gosh.
Hoth is too.
Oh, yeah. Hoth is another one that's like that. That you have to just drive a whole lot, and it makes it really boring.
Yeah, but I agree. I mean, people playing the game for the first time do not do 12 times XP. It's
No.
like that should be for people that have played it a lot already.
Yeah.
That whatever. You can turn it off.
I was a real advocate for, as far as 12x XP was concerned, I was a real advocate for tying it to your legacy points and making it part of that. So that way, the first time that you go through, you aren't doing 12x XP. Not until like you hit legacy level 30 or 40 are you actually getting close to 12x XP. And that way, you're almost guaranteed to go through at least once without skipping anything.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, but I think maybe it's to make it easier for maybe subscribers going on other servers. But
Yeah, like for me, I'm going to Ebonhawk. Like, of course, I'm gonna make an assassin, but I don't need to see all this extra stuff. Though I did, I was playing every single mission on Corellian just because I like it. And I was talking to one of my friends, and they're like, why are you level 12 on Corellian? What the hell are you doing?" And I'm just like, I just like it, and like I hadn't even gotten Chem Val yet at that point.
12, I didn't get off a huddle
Oh,
with
yeah.
my new Merc till I was like 16 or 17 because I was like, oh, whoops.
Yeah. So I mean, I still like doing a lot of those missions. So I might just turn off the 12 XP for some characters if I go back. But if it's something that I really don't want to play, like the 2 pub side class stories, I don't want to be playing. I don't want to be saving their planets. With the side missions.
Oh,
so.
playing the old secret agent. Look, she is RPing already. She's a secret
Yeah,
agent.
there you go.
Nice.
Oh, that event. I actually didn't make the event yesterday, but I'd been to some of Radio Free's events in the past, and they're really cool. I like them. So thumbs up from me for Radio Free, and they've got it like they have a DJ going on at the same time.
Yeah, and it's so cool
It's
because
wonderful.
he stands up there, and then there's dancers, and
Yep.
they had a costume contest. I didn't stay long enough for the costume contest because I was like 2.5 hours into the event, I think. But it was so much fun. It was so cool. But then I was just worried that I was doing things wrong. Like, you just randomly start dancing with people. Like, I guess you're not supposed to do that. I guess you're supposed to ask them. But
Look at it. There's the party girl. Just dance with
randomly
anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, those are fun events. If you're not, I know you went to it was Ebonhawk, right? That's the one you went to because they do it on a couple of servers. That's why I asked. You don't necessarily have to be an RPer in order to attend that event. There's quite a few non-RPers that just go there just to socialize, and it's just kind of a social event. So yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a good time. I definitely checked out like the pictures and stuff, and Radio Free. I've listened to them before. I love the free music you can check out online, so that is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
I guess we could talk about this different stuff all day long, but I guess we probably ought to get into a little bit of the news.
From the Newsnet and beyond.
So yeah, this past week or so, we did happen to have a little bit of news. I don't know if anybody have heard about this. There was a little interview on Bad Feeling podcast. Anybody check that out?
Never heard of it. Who is that?
A couple guys from
totally
Texas. I don't know. They managed to sneak on to BioWare's lot, and I guess they put him in some room and sent some guy in about talking about PvP. So no, it was a really good interview, and
Yeah.
Chuck and Brian from Bad Feeling Podcast, you guys got to check that out. If you haven't listened to them, head on over there. It's a good time. But they had Alex Modney over there, and also Eric Musco, and they had a interview where they were talking about some of the changes coming in 3.3 to the live game, which is actually on PTS right now. So.
Yeah, I think it was a really good thing that needed to be talked about right now, just because there's a lot of PvP players that are just like, what's going on? I don't know. I want to quit the game, all that kind of stuff. So I think it really got a lot of people interested in PvP again, just to kind of perk their ears and kind of look out for what's coming instead of just not hearing anything about PvP.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And some of the things like that they're talking about, definitely going to be gear costs going to be dropped, which I think is great.
They're getting rid of ranked comms, which yay!
So all your ranked comms that you have, they're not going away. They're going to be converted over to Warzone comms, so one currency, kind of like what they did with planetary comms. They're now all basic comms, I guess, something like that. So
I really like that because, you would have your regular Warzone comms and then you'd have to play rank to get your ranked comms mostly. And you'd go into rank, but you wouldn't have all ranked gear, but then you got to get ranked comms and then people would be like, well, you don't have full gear. And then it's just frustrating.
And of course, you're getting all the rage because we're losing. Why don't you have the gear, you idiot? Why are you here? So now you can have your gear before you step foot into a ranked arena.
So that's better.
I'm not sure I'm a really big fan of the conversion rate though. As of right now, they're going 1-to-1 for ranked. Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm a big fan of that. Hopefully
it should be like at least 2-to-1.
I would think so.
I would think so. I would think so. I mean, actually, if we were to go based off of what it is now currently in game is 3-to-1. So that's a huge step down to 1-to-1. But I guess at the same time they are reducing the cost. So I don't know exactly if it's going to be that big of a deal ultimately, although it does seem like it's a little unfair.
Yeah, I wonder, and I don't think it does because I don't think accommodations transfer over when you do character transfer. It'd be interesting what some of the people, when they go to the PTS after character transfer and see like how it is trying to not only gear up but also gear up like some alts and different things like that, because you'll be able to do that with the legacy lockboxes. Instead, they got rid of the decoration where people were kind of skimming the rules just a little bit. And so now you can still get the Warzone comms. You can transfer those legally now through buying these lockboxes, which is 99 Warzone comms for 99 Warzone comms. So you can transfer that to your alts and move that up. And speaking of Warzone comms, the not only that, but the XP and the credits are being doubled, which I think it's high time for that. I mean, I'm not a PvPer, but I mean, come on, those guys need some love. Give me a break.
Yeah, it's a good way to make credits besides, telling them to go do dailies.
Yeah.
Well, what if they don't want to do dailies?
Hey, get off your PvP tune and go do dailies. I don't do that.
Yeah, that's rude. I mean, people should be able to play what they want to play and be able to survive.
I am a huge advocate of doing everything in the game. Like, don't just do PvP. Don't just do one kind of PvE. But at the same time, I can absolutely understand the frustration of trying, especially when you're trying to level. That when your primary focus is PvP, even if you do like PvE on the side and whatnot. If your primary focus is PvP and you're not making nearly as much money as the guys doing PvE are, then it's super frustrating and you can't get what you need done. And I think as far as money is concerned in this game, I mean, money's so stinking easy to make in this game. It's not even funny. That it's high time that the PvPers are able to catch up with the PvEers as far as that's concerned. And then XP on top of that. I mean, especially it's like at the very beginning, PvP is okay to level up on. Like I think it's pretty decent, but once you hit those that mid tier is horrible to try to level up just through PvP, because I mean, first off, it's super frustrating because you don't have nearly as many abilities as the top ranking guys, or the higher level guys, and then you're not getting nearly as much XP either. So I can absolutely see the frustration, and it's high time that they got the XP that PvEers do.
Yes, I completely agree on that. Especially when we're talking about leading into this on the intros, we're talking about 12 times XP, blah blah blah, and PvE is getting all that, and it's like,
Yeah.
again, PvP is in the back jumping up and down like, hey, what about us over here?
12 times PvP leveling. That would be crazy. That would kind of motivate me to do it, I guess, maybe.
Well, the thing is, though, I mean, ultimately with this game, everybody has to do the story quests anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's the PvPers need something. They throw them a bone. I mean, really.
And let's see the other thing. Of course,
Oh, the other thing in the news, did you guys see the interview Switcher Network did with the manager of analytics at BioWare Austin? That was a very long interview.
That was a long interview. It was really cool about some of the things that they can pull down instantly on that. Like immediately they asked the question about the crystal that everybody has, which was the yellow fortitude crystal that everybody kind of got with that pre-order thing.
Yeah.
But nobody ever uses. So, and then he's like, they pulled up immediately what the most used crystal is right then. So, and he took, like, it only took, blah, 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 a short amount of time.
55 seconds.
Yeah.
Right?
So stuff like that I think is really cool. But
there's actually, if you go back, this is really funny, having played this game for so long, that all that stuff was like, oh, I heard that all before. You know why? Well, it's really funny is they've had that since launch. Since the launch of this game, they've had all that information, that technology. And Georg Zoller, who was the original combat designer for the game,
yes,
he actually did a GDC presentation on their analytics, and you could probably find it on the web somewhere. And it's really cool. I mean, I love their analytics stuff. It's really, really awesome. They were talking. Georg actually talked about how you could they could actually pinpoint what is being said in the game, like between players, and where and to what concentration. So if somebody was really frustrated about something, they can center in on keywords and figure out where the hotspots were for those kinds of keywords, or where the hotspots were for deaths in the game, and those kinds of things.
Yeah, another really interesting thing too is if analytics are very easy to find and obtain with things about the game, I mean, you can see what they're working on, and this has to reflect on what they're seeing in their analytics.
Yeah.
Of course.
But if I'm not mistaken, I know Garrick said this. I get those two now. I'm getting the two interviews confused. So I might be wrong on this one, but at any rate, I know that at one point or another they did say that they don't just look at analytics, although analytics are huge into what they what's coming out in the game and what they're doing with it. But it also they also pay attention to the feedback that they're getting on other podcasts and on the forums and things along that line, and seeing that kind of gives their focus for the analytics, and that way they're not just feeding off the analytics by themselves. They're kind of playing off of both in order to make a better game for everybody.
Yeah, they talked about that in this actual interview, in which they mentioned the fact that they have a whole team that looks at more of than just the numbers, because that was kind of because everybody's talking about analytics. It's not just in games. I mean, that's how people do, like professional teams do drafting now with analytics and everything. I mean, every forms of life there you can see that. But if numbers can be anywhere and you can use them everywhere, but if they have a whole team kind of looking like, okay, why are those numbers that way? That kind of makes me a little more accepting of that kind of stuff like that. So just that they're not coming up with some number. I mean, as like 2% of people have the Dark Reaver set in PvP. Well, what does that say? does that mean only 2%, of people? Does that mean not many people are PvPing, or is that meaning people don't want to go that long with the grind? What does that mean? So
Yeah, I mean that's where they turn to feedback. I mean they see something that's kind of out of place and whatnot, or it works both ways actually, because you could sometimes they've looked at the analytics and say, hey, this is kind of out of place. Why is this like this? And then they go to the to forums and other communication with the community and to find out where that is. And then it works the other way around as well. They'll there might be a complaint on the community. The community's perception is this regarding whatever whatever this is, and then they'll go to the analytics and say, hey, and measure that and say, is it really like that? And if it's not really like that, then they say, oh well, why is this perception? Why is it being perceived this way then?
yeah, I think it's encouraging to see, some of the interviews that have been going on with some of the behind the scenes from these different things like Alex Monday, and also the interview that Olag had with the analytics guy, and I thought that was interesting to see more of what they're doing on the inside, so we get it's more that transparency. I know you've talked about that on some of your articles and stuff like that, so I think that's good to see that. Let's see. I think, of course, we have, something else to talk about going on, and then I think we're going to get into the interview with Larry. So let's go on and get into the community buzz. So yeah, besides all the great interviews and stuff like that, and I know that we kind of gleaned over some of those rather quickly, but they've been talked about and stuff like that. The other thing that we had to talk about was the community stream and them getting back into the Yavin stronghold and the Togruta species. What did you guys think of that? Did you guys check out the stream at all?
I didn't watch the stream. I was at work, but I did read all the summaries. I know Master Lou did one, Dolphy did one, and I was surprised to see or read that they couldn't show us the male Togruta. Like, isn't that already in the game?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think that this is one of the things that a lot of players from the outside don't necessarily understand, that when you see an NPC in game, it doesn't immediately translate into a player character. Like, you can't take that NPC and make it a player character. There is so much more to a player character, as far as animations, as far as skeletal structure, as far as textures and those kinds of things are concerned, that just don't exist in the NPC. Because an NPC, it's for instance, I mean, it's kind of like doing well, I don't know. I'm trying to come up with an analogy, but basically, with an NPC, it's a one-time painting. You do it one time, and that's it. Whereas, with a player character, you have to be able to have adjustable layers on that painting. You have to be able to take this out and swap it in for that, or take this out and swap it in for this other thing over here. And it's just ultimate. There's so many different layers that you have to do on a player character that you don't have to do on an NPC. And so therefore, and it's possible that they just didn't have, like, let's say, the skeletal structure ready, or they didn't have the textures ready, or things along that line. That's why they couldn't show it. So, I mean, I can personally understand why they only showed the female one, probably because that was the one they worked on first.
I guess
Really.
I just don't understand, because they have the same, like, body. Don't you just have to change the skin color and then stick a Togruta head on it? I don't know.
Possibly. I don't know. Well, I don't. Well, you also have a lot of clipping that goes on
Yes.
with the head tails, or whatever they're called on Togruta, that don't exist on any other
Yeah,
species.
they're long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're in the
They
front.
come down, yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, they come.
They're still working
yeah.
on the Twi'lek.
Yeah. Well, the Twi'lek, it all goes towards the back. That's where all the clipping any of the clipping with the head tails on the Twi'lek is in the back, whereas Togruta, that's all in the front. And so therefore there's a lot more to deal with whenever you're having to worry about clipping and things along that line. Things you don't really have to worry about from an NPC perspective that you do have to worry about from a player character perspective.
Yeah, I was kind of like some of those we talked about in the interview last night, the podcast last night on the GGC. It was disappointing they did not have the male, but I guess it's kind of understandable. But I guess once again, it looks from the perception, it's like, what are you guys doing? Shouldn't you guys already have this? So there's a lot of work that goes into it. You know how perception kind of tends to become reality for people. So.
I mean, I definitely understand it. I was also disappointed too. I don't want to. I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here a little bit, because I was disappointed that they didn't have it completely ready to go. Because seriously, how long have you guys been working on this? So I mean, I completely understand that perspective, and I was really hoping that at least, I was really hoping that they would show us a little bit more of the like character creation for, like, you know, why not go into the terminal and change and show us some of the things and how she looks with, even if it was just the female one, they didn't have the male one ready. I completely understand that, but let's change the look of it and see what kind of options we have available. I was kind of hoping for that, but unfortunately they didn't give us that either.
Yeah, they need to see the different patterns for the head tails and also like face patterns and stuff like that. That would have been cool to see. What do you guys think of the actual stronghold itself? And are you guys going to go to Yavin?
It was cool. There's a waterfall and stuff in it. It looks nice, but I'm probably not going to decorate it.
I'm shocked on that, Heather.
Yeah. I mean, eventually, maybe my guild leaders will make me, or they'll just do it. But yeah, I mean, it looks nice. It's great for people that like strongholds. But you do have to deactivate one of yours, which I think is totally reasonable. Just for I guess, I don't know what their reason was, if it was too much of a load on the servers. But I mean, I think it's totally reasonable to have to turn one off. I mean, God, you don't need 4 houses.
What are you talking about? I have 3 of them completely decorated, at least. I actually do. I have, my Tatooine one and my Dromund Kaas one are completely actually decorated and fully open and at 100%, or at least very close to 100%. I have one that's not quite done yet, but my Nar Shaddaa one's not done yet. But yeah, at any rate, it's as far as Yavin is concerned, I like Yavin. I like the way it looks. I'm a little bit concerned about it being a stronghold for you. Like, it doesn't. Okay, so I'm coming from the perspective of a role player. Why in the world do I have a house on Yavin as a character? That makes 0 sense to me.
You're hoping to see a ghost?
Well, I don't know. I mean, why in the world would I build something that's like? First off, as far as lore is concerned, and I apologize for anybody who's not interested in the lore, but Yavin is a place of exile. That is where that's where Naga Sadow was exiled to, and so everything that you're seeing there is pretty much, and it's also a tomb for all the Masasi, all the millions of Masasi that were killed, and so there's, I mean, I don't understand. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go live in an Egyptian pyramid. No, that just doesn't happen. You don't do that.
You're hiding out from everybody, Larry. You're hiding out.
I guess. I don't know. I'm really kind of. It just doesn't feel right to me. I like it. I think it looks really, really pretty. I do.
So where would you suggest instead of Yavin 4 from an RP standpoint?
Anywhere. But I don't know. A couple of my favorites would have been, I would like to have seen a Korriban one. That would have been really, really cool. I would have liked to see, well, obviously we couldn't do Ziost, although Ziost would have been amazing before, all that stuff happened. As far as neutral planets, one place that everybody could, why not Rishi? Rishi is amazing.
Yeah, Rishi seems pretty well populated. Yeah.
And they had so many Rishi decorations.
Exactly. Why couldn't we do that one? Because that
It's
would
like
have been,
they had to choose either one, and
yeah.
they chose the one that nobody should be living
Yeah,
on.
I know. Yeah. There, chat rooms suggesting some that I totally agree with too. Manon, Alderaan.
Manon would have been great.
I
Oh,
think
Manon
Rishi
would've
would have been
been awesome.
great too. I mean, you could have been right by the beach and lots of water and pretty trees
You could live in a
everywhere.
tree house. That would be sweet.
Have
Yeah,
your own
so
personal bird servants and stuff like that.
Sure. You already have them. We've already got the NPCs for it,
Yep,
right?
that's
yeah, and
it.
I think it would have just been so much fun to like play pirates all day long.
Well, that's what
Exactly.
several of them last night on the thing said, Rishi, just so you could have your own little pirate cove and stuff like that.
Yep.
So missed
But I
opportunity.
do. But I mean that aside. I mean, I know that they put a lot of work into it, and it does look really, really nice. I don't want to. I don't want to.
Yeah, the poor
Yeah.
dev that like
I
was heart
know.
and soul
They're
in it.
like-
He's like, oh my god, guys.
We
Yeah.
can't do anything right. Come on, seriously.
Yeah, no, I really feel bad for the dev that's hearing that might be hearing this right now. That's that's like, gosh, you guys hate my. No, I don't hate it. I think it's really really well done. I think that there's the other thing that I really like about it that we saw in the live stream was I actually liked the placement of the hooks. I'm not a fan of the hooks in the first place, but that being said, I think they have done a tremendous job of filling the space and allowing you to fill the space with your decorations
I
and
was just
whatnot.
about
So
to ask you on that, Larry, because you do a lot of the decoration and stuff. It looks like they're giving you a lot more options on that, and obviously you like that as well with
yeah,
ton of hooks.
yeah, I think they've done a really really good job. I didn't get a good look at like what they have on like the walls and the sides of the building,
Yeah,
but I do know that they added more to that. So I am happy to hear that.
yeah, that's really good. So that, and then once again, like Heather mentioned, that was Master Lou where I got that stuff from, and my thing besides watching the actual dev stream, and you can check that out there. He actually has the video posted on his little blog. So thank you, Master Lou, and to give him a shout out for that. And with that, I think we're going to move into Q&A with Larry here. So start with Larry. Could you introduce yourselves?
Okay.
Tell us a little about what you've been doing, how you got into writing and all that stuff.
Oh, let's see. Well, I am the Star Wars: The Old Republic, actually, pretty much Star Wars in general, reporter for Massively Opinionated. Before that, it was massively under AOL, but we're no longer under AOL. And I got into, I got it. Well, actually, I got into doing content for the internet. Gosh, how many years ago now was it? I want to say 10 years ago, something along that line. I was part of the role play community in Star Wars: The Old Republic, or Star Wars Galaxies, and I wrote, I did forums, and I created some of the more popular role play forums. I don't know if any of you guys might be listening to it. I'm probably going to reveal something very, very secret because my people didn't know who it was, but I did StarWarsGalaxies.com. That was a big one. That was StarCiderGalaxy.com.
Woo, that would have been impressive,
I was
right?
like, StarWarsGalaxy.com. Wow, Larry, I didn't even know.
Wow, sorry about that. StarCiderGalaxy.com. And that was probably the biggest role play community like that that existed in a single forum. I mean, it was incredible to try to keep those servers up. It was nuts. But at any rate, I did that, and I was also the role play senator, which was like a community representative, kind of like we had. We had community reps for Star Wars: The Old Republic too, right? So it's very similar to that, except my focus was on role play, and did that for quite a while. And then when we heard about the rumors of Star Wars: The Old Republic, Massively was looking for people, and I wrote a piece for them and told them what I did and what I've done in the past, and they're like, "Oh, well, come on board." And that's kind of what happened. That was, I don't know, what are we looking at, 5 years ago now, something along that. How long has the game been out? 4 years. It was 2 years before the game, so we're almost looking at 6 years.
Almost 6 years, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's how I got into that, and here I am today, internet famous. Yay!
Yay! Fairies everywhere.
But yeah, I mean, one of my biggest focuses have always been the community. I actually I don't know if she was in channel earlier. Carla with Corellian Run Radio. I'd actually been on Corellian Run Radio a couple times before with Carla, and it was. Yeah, I've always been community focused. That was always been my thing with doing anything with Star Wars: The Old Republic. I didn't. I although I talked about the game, and I still talk about the game itself quite a bit. I do like to mention whenever the other people in the community are doing things like. I mean, that's why with Massively Opinionated, when I did that with Star Wars: The Old Republic, I wanted to get Volk in there because Volk has done just some amazing videos and things along so much better than I could even do myself, and I was glad to get him on, and Heather and Red, all you guys have, and when I did the Republic with Gamebreaker, I always tried to keep a rotation of community people coming in and people that are positive voices for the community.
So, do you have any tips that you could give to any writers out there or any community content contributors out there that would like to kind of get into the SWTOR community or just be better?
I think the biggest thing that I've always struggled with, and I still struggle with it myself when doing some things. I mean, if you notice, hyperspacespeaking.com isn't the most regular. Doesn't have the most regular content. Just getting started is the hardest thing to do sometimes, and the best and I hate giving this advice, but it's really the best advice is to just do it. Don't necessarily worry about how good it is or anything along that line. If you have something to say it, and then then invite people to look at it. Don't necessarily invite everybody to look at it, but invite like what I did with my my stuff that I originally wrote. I have a person that is a good friend of mine that will not just tell me what I want to hear. He's honest in his opinions, and but he's also a nice guy at the same time. He's also my friend. So but he's not afraid to tell me like it is. So if I mess up or something looks really, really dumb, or if I didn't phrase something correctly or whatever, he's right on top of that to say, hey, you know what, you might want to change this here, change that there. Find a circle of friends that that you can do that with, and that's helpful. But do it. I think that's the biggest thing is is kind of get over the fact that that people aren't going to like it, because there's always going to be some people that aren't going to like it. Pay attention to those guys that do like it and do it for them.
Awesome. I remember, just getting over the fact of actually sending out my thing when Carla and originally started the site, and they were just calling for people to help out with forums or anything like that. And I was like, maybe I should, and I just sent the email and did it, and I haven't looked back since. So I enjoy it. I love being part of the community and stuff like that. So yeah. So when did you actually start the streaming? And what are your favorite things to do in the stream?
When did I start streaming? I think the first SWTOR stream, I was one of the first to stream SWTOR, actually, because I had I'd done some streaming of other games for Massively, and there was so we got permission to do like we could show no more than like 8 minutes of any given class if we were to do video. And what that was designed for originally was for video content creators. So video content creators could show like 8 minutes of whatever, of this and that. So what I decided to do was, hey, why don't I take that and make it into a stream form? That way I can answer questions at the same time. I mean, live with people, answer questions and show them what's going on. Instead of trying to preempt any questions, I can actually answer them live. And So what I did to kind of circumvent the embargo that was going on, or whatever you want to, whatever it was called, was I would stream a class story for 8 minutes. Then I wouldn't turn off the stream. I'd like put up a splash screen of some sort, or just have my face or something along that line, while I was switching classes, and then switch a class and go to the next one. And I would answer questions as they were going along, and that's how I started SWOTOR streaming. So, but now one of my favorite things to do is to stream my raids, and not and honestly, this isn't because I want to show anybody how to raid, because frankly, I don't necessarily know that we're the best at it. And in fact, I know we're not the best at it. But the whole dynamic that goes on during a raid, especially when you got a raid of people that enjoy hanging out with each other, and it's not just, oh, we're here to do a job, we're actually here just to have fun and to hang out with each other. That makes such a great dynamic, and the interaction between people, even if it's a little bit of drama, it doesn't totally take away from the whole positive aspect of working together with other people.
Yeah, I have to say I've been tuning into your podcast here lately and enjoying watching you guys' raids, and it just cracks me up watching you guys. I mean, you guys do know what you're doing, but you guys have a great time, and so I enjoy it. And it's really fun to watch. So.
Yeah, that's why we do it. I mean, we do it, and that's why I actually started streaming the raids in the first place. Was I hadn't actually done a whole lot of raiding before Tor. I've done a little bit here and there with other games, and I was always the healer for some reason or another. I don't know. I feel sorry for those guys. But at any rate, I what I ran into is the group that I was raiding with was just a lot of fun to hang out with, and I'm like, gosh, this would just, even if we were doing like PvP or whatever, or a flashpoint or something along that line, it was always fun just to hang out with these people, and to show the dynamic of people working together to to try to accomplish a goal, and the whole interaction between everybody. It's just that it just so happened that, oh, we raided together too, and raiding just made it really convenient, because you had to schedule it, and you had it made it really convenient to do a stream, because it was regular, it was scheduled, and we're doing a group event, and it was yeah. So I had to do that. And still my favorite thing to do is to stream the raids, because, well, that's where everything happens, to be honest. The funniest things happen during raids, and you really get the personalities to shine with people, especially, even good or bad. That's where their personalities shine.
So it sounds like you've been playing SWTOR since beta. In all these years, what is your favorite class and advanced class?
So my favorite class to play, like the class itself, like how fun it is for me to hit the buttons in the specific order, is Marauder or Sentinel. I like them both. Obviously, they're the same. I think that is, and especially, and I like the Annihilation spec, or the Annihilation discipline, because it is just there's so much nuance to it, and it's not a firm rotation. Obviously, I mean, Tor in general, most classes aren't a firm rotation, but there's several of them. Like the Juggernaut Vengeance spec right now is, you pretty much hit these buttons in this order every single time. Whereas with Marauder Annihilation, it wasn't really ever like that. It was really you had to play with the moment, and it took a lot of thinking to do as you're dealing with whatever is happening, either in the raid or in PvP, and it was good at it. And you could actually get great numbers with that. So, and it's still my favorite, although I can't do it during a raid, just because I can't push out the numbers that I need to for the raid, unfortunately. However, my favorite class to play, my favorite story is the agent story, by far. Absolute favorite. I love the way that Alex Freed, who wrote the agent story, how he didn't he told a great story that works in three completely different ways. I mean, the endings of I think the endings of this agent story are so different from each other. The dark side versus the neutral versus the light side are all very different stories and very intriguing in and of themselves. And it wasn't just that. He also um, he also was able to use the mechanics of the dialogue tree in very interesting ways. Like I think the best example is during I think it's the beginning of chapter 2 when you are your character, and I'm going to give a little bit of spoilers here, but not really, not really.
Only
And
spoiler Heather, she hasn't played that class.
Wait,
Well,
yeah.
it's just yeah it's only minor spoilers, so don't worry about it. You are there's a trigger word for you that basically anytime somebody says this trigger word, it's onomatophobia is the word, which isn't a real word. um, they anytime anybody says that, whatever they say after that, you have to do. You're programmed to do that. So it was really funny. The first time that was triggered, you say the, the guy that you're with says that, and then the dialogue tree, you have three options, but no matter what option you pick, you do whatever he says.
That's awesome.
It was amazing. It threw me. I'm like, wait a second, that's not what I picked.
Escape. Try it again.
Yeah. I think I did it a couple times. I'm like, there's something has to be wrong here. And then I realized that, oh, that's what happened. And so, yeah, it was really, really cool. I think that was a really interesting way of using. So I think that's as far as BioWare is concerned, that's like quintessential BioWare storytelling right there in that particular example. And I think that the agent story does the best. It makes the best uses of that.
So now you mentioned the Republic, the big cast. How long were you part of it, and are you still there? And are there any other projects that you would like to talk about right now that you're currently with?
So I'm no longer doing the Republic. The Republic's kind of had to kind of take a break, and because I'm not working with Gamebreaker anymore. I know that some people are going, oh, well then why aren't you working with Gamebreaker? It was no drama or anything. Sorry about that. I just didn't have time to do it anymore. Is really what it boiled down to. And I apologize for all the fans of the Republic, but I didn't have time to do it. Especially with all the stuff that was happening with Massively Overpowered and some of the things that were happening in my personal life. So I could no longer do the Republic, although it was so much fun. And I was there. I was in the third episode of the Republic. The guy that was Jay Hegard had to take a break for I forget what he had to do, and Gary was kind of desperate to find somebody that could talk about Star Wars: The Old Republic, intelligently, and he asked Sean Schuster, who was he and Sean were friends, and he asked Sean, who do you got that can help out, and he said, well, Larry knows his stuff, and he could. I don't know if he has a camera or anything, but you can get on the show. And I had the worst. I had to go out and buy a camera, and I bought the worst camera that I possibly could, because it was all grainy and nasty, and my headset was really horrible, and it was kind of funny, but yeah. But from that point on, I did the Republic up until about a month ago. So yeah, it was awesome. I like the Republic. I want to do it again. I really do. I want to do something, at least something like that again, because it is a lot of fun, and I like talking about Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I like the format of it. I like the video aspect of it, and you not only do you just hear their people's voices, but you also see their faces and what they're actually, kind of. You get a. I think you get a. Not everybody can express themselves on, just vocally. And so a lot of it has, I know right now I'm talking with my hands and nobody can see it. And so, so it's kind of like that. Yeah. And I like the video aspect of it. And as far as other stuff I'm doing right now, I mean, massively opinionated is one of my favorite things to do right now. It's a debate show and this last week we took. It's not always about Star Wars: The Old Republic. In fact, although to be honest, Star Wars: The Old Republic has shown up in like almost all the episodes in some form or fashion. But at any rate, we talk about MMO tropes that have happened that people argue about. You know, some of the one of the things that happens in my guild chat quite a bit is why is this better than this? Why is this game better than this game? Or why do developers do free to play, or why do developers do subscriptions, those kinds of things? And we have those discussions, have those discussions in guild chat. Well, I said, well, why don't we just take those discussions and debates that we have in guild chat and bring them onto an internet show? And that's what Massively Opinionated is. We debate specific topics. I invite 3 people on to give their arguments, and I choose whichever is the best argument. And at the end, I don't know, people win the internet or something. The points don't matter. It's like whose line it is anyway.
Yeah, that was awesome. I liked your last show. That was really good with all the people you had on there. And once again, like you mentioned, Bulk. He's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was really kind of, that is, Heather can attest to it because she was on the show. But having somebody on the West Coast and somebody in Bulgaria on the same show, it was horrendous to try to schedule, but it was so much fun to do. Though I'm glad we did it.
So just to kind of change the topic a little bit here, what is RP in MMOs? How did you get started doing that? And do you have any tips to better RP in SWTOR?
Shoot. Let me start with the first question then. how did I get started in role play?
And what is role play?
What is role play? So role play, there's all sorts of different kinds of definitions of what role play is, but I think the simplest way to put it is that you take on a character living in whatever universe you're in. So in this particular case, you take on a character that's living in the Star Wars: The Old Republic universe. And that's pretty much it. Everything that you do is in association, is based off of that. The way you interact with people is based off of, we're actually living here in this universe. And that's it. I mean, that's in simplest terms, that's what it is. When you start breaking it down, it gets a little bit more complicated, because you're not just, because you got to realize that you don't necessarily know everything, that you as a person know more things than your character would know, or your character might be completely different as far as the personality is concerned than you are, so it wouldn't necessarily react the same way as you would. I come, my background is in theater, actually. When I was in college and in high school, I was in theater the whole time. I was an actor. I did all sorts of fun stuff like that. I was on, and so this is kind of my outlet as an adult to do theater, because I can't really do that anymore. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but I mean, I don't have time to devote to doing theater. So, so I role play in video games, and it's a lot of fun. I'm able to take on a character and kind of perceive the world the way that they do, but as far as like tips and whatnot is concerned, wow, it's. I think the biggest thing to do is to find other role players that have similar interests to you, and that it's kind of like, finding a PvP group or a PvE group. You got to find people that have similar interests to you, that are on similar levels as you are, and just have fun, and just there's no real tips for it. I would say definitely check out a couple of websites. If there is SWTOR RP, SWTOR-RP.com. There's also there's a couple of Ebon Hawk communities, ebon-hawk.com, and I think ebhawk.engine.com, enjin.com. that's all the Ebb and Hawk ones. I know the Bulgarian colony has one as well. Although unfortunately, I feel sorry for I apologize to the Bulgarian colony because I haven't spent a lot of time over there. But they have their sites as well. But I would go there and talk to some of those people and ask questions. I mean, the biggest thing you can do is ask questions. Most role players are pretty nice and they'll answer questions for you. I know in the Ebb and Hawk, there's actually a couple of chat channels that you could join. /C join OOC, which OOC stands for out of character. So you can, if you have any kind of questions or anything like that, you can ask in that channel. Yeah. What was the rest of the question?
Yeah,
You answered it.
you answered it. That was awesome. Yeah, that's cool about having the extra chat channels to join like that. And that one was sotor-rp.com, you said?
Yeah.
Cool.
They do. They'll do certain. They have an article style. They do have forums on there, but the crux of what they do is like news feeds, and some of their news feeds are actually in character.
Well, that's cool.
Like the news feeds will be done from the perspective of some reporter reporting on what is happening. Like I think they just had one on Zyos, what happened on Zyos, and that was pretty awesome. And then, but everything that they do is from the perspective of a role player, if not from in character. So, if something new, if there's something newsworthy that happens, like the changes that are coming with 3.3, they're going to talk about how that's going to impact the role player. Those kinds of things.
Very cool. Are there any other hobbies or anything like that you have away from video games?
I actually went to school for graphic art, and I do graphic art. I'm constantly drawing. It's really fun. I do comic strip for Massively Massively OP. I do sword and board comic strip. That's a lot of fun for me. But that I think that's other than seeing movies and those kinds of things and hanging out with my kids and whatnot. That's my hobbies. My hobbies are my kids and video games. That's pretty much it.
Those are some good hobbies, though.
Yeah.
Can you tell us anything about the novel that you're working on?
That's really it's really funny that you pulled that out. I noticed that in the list. I was going to say, no, don't say that but at any rate, why I put that in there, that's actually from my my bio. Is it still on Massively Opinionated, or is that just on Massively?
That's still there.
Okay, I couldn't remember if that was on Massively Opinionated or not. But at any rate, the reason I put that in there is because I'm always working on some sort of story or something along that line. That's always in the back of my mind. I'm always taking notes on. Like I have pages and pages of notes on a story that one of my favorite tropes. Gosh, I'm going on a tangent here, but anyway, I'm going to go down it anyway.
Go ahead.
One of my favorite tropes is the 5-man band. If you know what that is, as far as the trope is concerned, basically it's the A team. That's the 5-man band, pretty much. Nice. Where you have a leader, you have a lancer, you have a tough guy, you have a like a weirdo kind of person, usually a tech guy, and then you have somebody that's kind of that doesn't know what they're doing, that's kind of new to the group or whatever, and that's the 5-man band. And I wanted to take that trope and put it into the Star Wars universe, but then flip it as well and kind of yeah, and Dark Edge is saying there's only 4 people in the A team. There's always in the A team, the 5th person is the woman that's always there, and I hate using it because it's so gender specific, but it doesn't. But as far as the trope is concerned, it's not necessarily gender specific. But I like taking that. I like putting that trope into the Star Wars universe because it's really not been done. Although Star Wars Rebels has now done it. And I wanted to do that, and so I've got notes and notes of this Imperial group that's set during the classic period, like like before, just before the original Star Wars movie, and that's have to deal with being this super spy group that it originally is set to track down rebels, or excuse me, not rebels, but Jedi, but is then turned on its head and has to then hide from the Empire, and all sorts of espionage and those kinds of things going on. I don't want to give anything away, but that's basically what's happening with him. I like it's just that trope. I really like that trope, and I didn't ever see it in the Star Wars universe, and I'm like, why don't I do it? And so I started writing bits and pieces of it and never finished it.
Well,
cool
we
idea.
asked you about it now, so that means you have to keep going.
Yeah, now I have to finish it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. We like to help out any way we can. So, Larry, are you ready for the rapid shot round?
Sure.
Anyway, it's coming anyway, so.
Yeah, even if I'm not.
Yeah, even if you're not, so.
Real quick before we begin, I
Oh.
don't have the rapid shot questions,
Oh!
so I guess you could just ask all of them.
Okay, I'll go ahead and ask him.
Okay, go.
No problem. What is your favorite Star Wars Togruta? Ahsoka or Shakti?
Shakti, I guess. I like the Master, but I'm not a really big fan of Ahsoka, personally. Sorry.
No problem. What is your favorite Star Wars film?
Empire Strikes Back. Hands down.
Hands down. Which Wookiee would you have as your first mate? Bodar, Zalabar, Anhar, or Chewbacca?
Oh wow. Gosh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go with Bodar only because he's a little bit more of a badass than Chewie is. Just a hair, I mean, like just a hair more. I mean, Chewie is nice. He's too nice for me. I'd want him to be a little bit meaner. That's really what it boils down to.
Rip the arms off.
Yeah, I instead of just threatening to rip the arms off of somebody, I want him to actually do it. I think that's the biggest difference between Bodar and Chewie.
Nice. Empire or Republic for your faction?
Oh, Empire. Always.
Yes. The dark side. What is your favorite Force power? Force choke or Force lightning?
Force choke. I think it's a little bit more personal.
Oh, I like it. Nice. Which weapon? Lightsaber or the blaster?
Oh. Gosh. Lightsaber. It's more elegant.
More elegant. Okay, Obi-Wan. Nice. And that is the rapid shot round. Thank you, Larry. And again, thank you for being on the show here.
Yeah,
Kind of a little long, but I love it. I love anytime we get to talk with people like that and have these interviews. I love working with anybody in the community, so especially everything that you're doing for the community.
Thanks a lot.
So I think with that, I think we're going to go into some of our quick mentions and some of the SWTOR community extras that we kind of had. I saw around mostly the streaming network. Let's see. I noticed from the streaming network, I got to see Goken. I know we had him on our PvP special with Drew, and he was starting to do some raiding. He ran with a group doing TOS, and so I don't think they finished it all the way, but it looked like he was having a good time. He said he was enjoying it, so.
That's good.
Sakari, his raid group in Vindictive, he also took down the walkers in hard mode.
Yay!
So, yay. Send that group out to them. And then Max the Gray. They were working on ops as well with his group. Everybody probably knows him from the Escape podcast. I was seeing him, and he was jamming with Steve Vai. Yes, that's right. He was playing, he's learning to play the guitar, and he happened to have a video. They run some videos, music videos, for having background music. And it happened to be a Steve Vai video, and he pulled out his guitar because they were having a long break because somebody wasn't back yet. So he's just learning, so it was pretty good, though. You have to,
Nice.
hats off to that. So
Yeah,
And then,
in some podcast news, Redna has a new podcast with his friend Ordo. Their podcast is called It's a Trap. So basically, it's about Star Wars canon, but the new canon. So anything that has been coming out recently that is part of the new Star Wars canon, they're talking about it.
yep. And Larry, you have some insight on that too. I think don't they run on you guys' website?
You can. Well, they have their own website, but
Mhm.
it's also on hyperspacebeacon.com as well.
And it's-
All the conversation. Go to hyperspacebeacon.com, and if you want to listen to their stuff, it is all canon stuff. Like anything that they talk about, that is not extended universe anymore. It is canon. So, and they talk about that. And if you want to get in on that discussion, the discussion's happening on hyperspacebeacon.com.
Yes, that's awesome. Some of the stuff they talk about is really good. I got to check out that, and I'm not sure when they are going to have a new episode.
I think they're gonna have one out like today,
Ooh,
but
definitely have to check that
I
out.
don't know. They're trying to have a calendar that yeah,
I think
I'm
they
supposed to be working on.
just got the 3 episodes right now, but definitely worth checking out. So It's a Trap.
It's a trappodcast.com.
Yes, check it out. And we will have links to all those, and you can check out the streamers as well. And if you are a streamer or somebody doing something in the community and would like to get a shout out, like Master Lou or something like that, definitely let us know and send us an email. The other thing, I'm going to touch on it just briefly. Extra Life and SWOTOR, definitely I know some people in the community, various podcasts are working to get together and do that for that charitable organization. So it's in the works, and we'll let you know when more things come out about that.
Yeah, and if you're a guild looking to get your guild noticed on the show, why not contact us about being on a guild ready check? If you're interested, send an email to corellianrun@gmail.com or to me at heather@prettylittlesith.com.
We want to thank all those guilds who have contacted us, and stay tuned for new guild ready checks and community checkpoint articles. Don't forget to check out the great articles we have on CRR during the week. Please take a moment to leave us a positive feedback on iTunes and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast app.
If you'd like to contact us or have any questions or ideas for discussion topics, email us at corellianrun@gmail.com. You can also follow and tweet us on Twitter at corellianrun. My personal Twitter handle is at Heather_PLS, and Jason is at JT_HoloNet. If you're on Facebook, like our Facebook page, or you can also join our Facebook group. You can also leave a voicemail for us on our website, www.corellianrun.com, or our Facebook page that could possibly be featured on the show. Finally, if you'd like to be a writer or submit content for our website, send an email to Jason, and he's jason@corellianrun.com.
That's going to wrap it up for us at Corellian Run Radio. Want to thank again our guest, Larry Everett, for stopping by. And we definitely want to thank all our fans and followers and the loyal listeners and all those join us in the chat today. We like to appreciate that for all you guys stopping by and helping out the show and helping me with my mic level volumes. Thank you guys. And until next time, I'm Jason.
I'm Heather. May the force be with you, or keep those blasters by your side, kid.
You've been listening to Corellian Run Radio, a Star Wars The Old Republic podcast. Tune in next time to hear Heather say,
Thanks, Larry, for being on the show.
End transmission.